your Nevada Family Realtor. I'm here with Charmaine, my cousin, who works hand in hand with me on all my transactions. Today we're going to be talking about the process of selling your home. So I could start out by talking to you about all of the different marketing that we do and how unique we are and blah, 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 and tell you all about our company. But really what it comes down to is, through my experience and through Charmaine's experience of all the listing presentations that we've gone on, all the listings that we've taken, all the houses that we've sold, we've found that most sellers are concerned with 5 things. How much we can sell their house for and how fast. They're concerned with the service that we're going to provide. They want to know about the marketing that we're going to be doing. They're concerned with their own goals and the motivations. For example, they might need to actually sell their house and buy another one, or they might be moving because they have children that are moving out of the house and they're downsizing. And then the last one, which I actually think is the most important that sellers are concerned with, is how exactly are we different from other agents? What do we do that really stands out? So one of the reasons why I have Charmaine here today is because I actually sold her house a few years ago, and I thought she might be able to give us an interesting perspective on some of the things that go on during the process of selling your home emotionally. So Charmaine, what were some of the things for you that were exciting, and then also what were some of the things that you felt were challenging and maybe a little bit stressful?
I think the exciting part was we were actually, when you came in and showed all the comps, we were actually able to list our house higher than what I had expected. The comps actually came a little bit higher than what I had thought they would be, so that was the exciting part. The stressful part is, of course, when you first put your house on the market, you're thinking, how long is it going to take to sell? Is it going to take a week? Is it going to take a month? Is it going to take 2 months? Is it, how long is it going to take? And then, once you get a buyer that's interested that comes in, you want to make sure that they, are solid, that they can qualify, that they're going to follow through with purchasing the home, because, once you have an offer, you're kind of out there looking for another home. Mm-hmm. So you're kind of vested in, you have your timeline when you need to move, so you're hoping that the buyer will fulfill all their obligations as well.
Exactly, and I'm so glad that you brought up those 2 things, because those really play into service and marketing. One of the things that Charmaine and I do, which any realtor is gonna pull some comps, but a lot of what realtors do is they'll pull up basic comparables on your home, which is a list of homes that have sold within a mile radius in the last 90 days, and they'll show that to you, and they'll show you the best numbers and say, this is exactly what that house is gonna sell for, and they might not have done the back-end research. So something that her and I do, we use video conference call. We'll get on video conference and do a screen share, and we'll play devil's advocate with each other and say, this is what I think it's worth, that's what you think it's worth. Well, let's go into the backstory to all these properties, and instead of just telling a seller, well, hey, this seller sold their house for, $500,000, so you can, we actually look into the backstory. Maybe that seller actually, put in a custom wine cellar, or had a swimming pool, or just refinished the entire house. So those are things that are really, really important and that we really, really need to know. As far as what you were saying about it being a little bit stressful once you have an offer in place, because of the buyer's performance, one of the things that Charmaine and I do is we try to make sure that buyer is qualified by calling that lender, reaching out to them, asking them what documents they provided. Have they given their taxes? Have they given their paycheck stubs, their bank statements?
Right.
How far along in the approval process are they, so that we can determine if we really feel like that's a solid buyer for our seller. As far as how much and how fast, that really plays into the comparables again. If we price your property correctly, if we sit down with you, if we show you all the evidence of what houses have sold for that are really truly comparable to yours, then we can come up with a price that actually meets your goal. That ties into the seller's goals and motivations. Some sellers need to sell extremely fast. There might be a situation where there was a death in the family, maybe a divorce. That's an extenuating circumstance that would cause the seller to have to sell a little bit faster, and we can price the home accordingly. Charmaine and I, we tend to not ever take overpriced listings. We want to take a listing that we know is actually going to sell. So if the expectations exceed what we feel we can perform on, some of the things that we do that are different from other agents are, we first of all put your house on Facebook. We call it the social listing method. We do basically what Zillow does. Profile the property, we'll do photographs and videos, we'll actually attach it to a landing page, and we will launch a highly targeted Facebook ad. And we're going to be targeting the demographic of people that can actually afford your property. So we're going to generate a ton of traffic and exposure that way. We also will do a mega open house, and we use Facebook again to leverage that power of marketing to drive traffic to that open house and get an excellent turnout and get a lot of exposure. Not just in other places in the valley, but really, really in your neighborhood. Because if you think about it, most of the time, neighbors know somebody that wants to move into their neighborhood, and they're going to be a huge asset that we definitely try to leverage.
Definitely. When I was selling my house, I had a few people come look, and they were the neighbors 2 doors down, it was people that they went to church with, and they just said, you know, we love the neighborhood. We have so many people from church that live here. And so it actually it is true where your neighbors will sometimes they can bring you a buyer.
Exactly. And so there's two different schools of thoughts on open houses. Most realtors feel that open house is just to generate buyer leads, and that's true. We do generate buyer leads that way. But however, if you really strategically use it to target that neighborhood and target that area and to get the traffic and to get the people buzzed and talking about your house the way we need them to, then it really is a huge asset for us. So what were some of the other things during the process that maybe you were unsure of, or that you found out as you went along, or that you know now as a realtor that you could share with anybody that's viewing this video?
I think, you know, another thing that was concerning, and obviously it always was the appraisal. That was another stressful part, because I didn't, you know, you want to make sure it comes in, you know, high enough so you can sell your house for what it's going to appraise for what you want to sell it for. So that I would have to say that was another, you know, stressful part of it as well.
Exactly. That's always a stressful part for the seller. And what we do to try to ease that stress is we handle that ahead of time by pricing the property correctly as we possibly can.
Right.
So we try to prevent that type of stress ahead of time, but there's always going to be a little bit of uneasiness. Everybody's kind of on pins and needles until the appraisal comes in, because at the end of the day, it's a professional opinion of value. If we have 5 different appraisals, we're most likely going to get 5 different values.
Yeah, that's very true.
Another step that her and I take is when the appraiser gets there, one of us is going to meet them there. And what we do is we provide them copies of all of the contracts, any counteroffers, any addendums, so that they are fully aware of everything that's going on in the transaction. And the message that we're trying to give to that appraiser is, hey, we have a buyer, we have a seller, they've both agreed and are comfortable with this price point. We think the property is worth this much.
And here's the comps. Here's the comps to prove it.
Exactly. And we provide them with a list of all the comparables that we actually used to price that property. So, you know, we're not trying to step on the appraiser's toes or get in his way, but we just want them to know that we are active, we've got 2 motivated parties, and we're on top of it.
Yep.
Exactly. So when we closed on your home, what was that like?
You know, it was a sense of relief. It was exciting. A lot of emotions. It was exciting. I felt relieved, but I was, you know, you're sad in a way because, you know, I had lived there for 13 years, raised my kids there, but you know, of course it was an exciting time as well because I got to go buy a new house and decorate that. So yeah, it was exciting. It was relief and excitement. So
awesome. So you've seen how we did things back then years ago. You see how we're doing things now.
Yes.
What are some of the things that we can do as a team right now that you think will really benefit our sellers, coming from a position of a previous seller, like, you know, emotionally and just, is there anything that you can share with them to give them a little bit of comfort as far as our process and how that works?
Well, I think, you know, luckily it was great having you as my agent. Well, it's nice having someone you can trust.
Exactly.
You know, knowing that, because that's a big thing, is knowing, you know, trusting your agent. So, you know, I was grateful that I had you because I knew as being family, I could trust you. So I think, you know, first and foremost, you have to feel comfortable with your agent. You have to be able to trust them. And I think, you know, having us work together, one of us is always available, and like you said, we kind of give ideas off each other, which helps. But I think, you know, a lot of it, like you said, is just being prepared, you know, pricing the house properly, you know, qualifying the buyer to make sure that they're able to purchase the home. And I think, you know, ahead of time letting the seller know, you know, you and I do this, we'll walk through the house with the seller prior to listing it and say, okay, before we put it on the market, you need to, you know, maybe fix this or fix that to make it aesthetically look better. Because believe it or not, people walk in and look with their eyes, and they like to walk into a house and see, you know,
exactly
everything's done, it's clean, and that it's, you know, where they can picture themselves living there. So you and I kind of go through and give them ideas of how to achieve that.
Yeah, and I think that's a huge asset, because I think that it's been my experience that most sellers in good faith want to present a great property to a buyer. They really want to do that, and sometimes they're unsure of, you know, should I fix this? Should I fix that?
Spend the money? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And so we can really help a seller strategize on, hey, you know, these are the things that actually really do need to be addressed before we put this house on the market. Yeah. This is something that's going to come up no matter what and have to be addressed down the line anyway, so let's take care of it ahead of time, so that the perception is that it's already been done, everything's taken care of, it's ready.
And they're not fixing anything unnecessarily and spending extra money where it's not needed.
Exactly.
You know, and there's different ways, you know, there's different ways you can go about it. If you know, let's just say you go in, the flooring's trash, but you don't have the time to fix it, you can
Exactly.
always allow for a flooring budget.
Exactly.
You know, there's different things you can do.
As far as strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went on a listing appointment recently, and it was at the stucco. I think there was something on the house where we
Yeah.
were both like, no, we don't think that that's worth it.
Yeah.
And there was minor things that we felt like should have been fixed, but there was a major expense, and I was pretty sure it was either restuccoing or repainting the
Right,
entire house.
right, yeah.
It was something that, you know, with a good power wash, that would have taken
It
care
would have
of it.
taken care of it,
So we
yeah.
potentially saved that seller thousands of dollars.
Yes, definitely.
I'm really glad you brought up the trust factor as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, we try to have a great online presence and present educational content and videos so
Mm-hmm.
that people can actually decide ahead of time if they like us and trust us. And obviously, you know, they still don't know us.
Right.
But that's one of the ways that we try to bridge that gap. But another way that we try to bridge that gap is definitely through our communication.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when we list our house, we're not going to be one of those agents that just put it on the MLS,
Right.
and you don't even know where to
You don't
find
hear
us.
from us.
Exactly. You're going to
Yeah,
get
that
weekly
doesn't
updates
happen.
from us. You know, whether you prefer to be texted, called, or emailed. We'll address that ahead of time. But weekly updates. Her and I are in contact all the time. We'll be
Every
in contact
day.
with you. We're always available. We answer our phones. We
Yep.
text back. We email back, and we specifically work with a team of people that are like-minded.
Yes.
We work with, you know, we recommend title officers to you, not because we're getting anything in return, but because they do their job. They're responsive. They're able to educate our buyers and sellers.
Yes.
And they're quick on the draw with that. Even our lenders that we, you know, typically recommend. I've taken listings and the buyer's agent has
Right.
used our lender for that
Right.
specific reason.
Or
because of
sometimes-
that communication.
Yeah, or even if you have a buyer that comes in and their lender is, you know, telling us something that we've never heard before, we have lenders we can call and say, okay, what is this all about? And they can kind of guide us through that if it's something we've never, you know, experienced. So-
Exactly. So just trust is such a huge factor all the way around, not even just with your agent, but with the team of people
Right.
that we have surrounding us. And we, I can say with absolute confidence, we have the best.
Yes,
The best of the
I
best.
definitely agree with you there.
Exactly. A little
Yes.
shout out to Terry Peterson at Fidelity
Yes.
Title and Sydney Johnson at Premier Mortgage. Are just,
Yep.
they are locked into our team, and we use them anytime we ever can possibly use them. And they're a huge asset to our sellers and to our buyers.
Yes.